as Ripple Labs and the Securities and Exchange Commission came to a new procedural agreement in their continuing legal dispute, the cryptocurrency market saw a spike in XRP trade. Amid increased market activity, the price of the digital asset increased to $2.82, representing an 11.5% increase. According to defense attorney James K. Phelan, the parties agreed to use a postponed appendix strategy for their cross appeals in a mutual agreement that was submitted to the court. This procedural mechanism expedites the appeals process by enabling the parties to gather pertinent documents following the filing of their initial pleadings. The SEC has a deadline of tomorrow to submit its opening brief in the appeal of the decision from last year. In 2023, Ripple was ordered to pay $125 million in settlement fees, which was a small portion of the $2 billion that the SEC had initially demanded. The regulator's reasons against that decision will be presented in this forthcoming brief. The market is very active, as seen by trading data, which shows a 24-hour volume of over $11.5 billion. According to CoinGlass, open interest increased by 21%, and liquidations totaled $14 million. Particular pressure was placed on short sellers, forcing the closure of $10 million in bearish bets. In recent months, there has been a noticeable rise in whale activity. According to data since mid-November 2024, investors who owned 1 to 10 million XRP tokens increased their holdings by 37%. Approximately $3.80 billion worth of XRP changed hands during this accumulating phase. Senior District Judge Phyllis J. Hamilton granted a motion to preserve sensitive information in a related legal issue. In the separate Ripple Labs litigation, the judge granted permission to seal 8 documents about the summary judgment motion filed by Ripple and CEO Brad Garlinghouse. The consequences of the most recent filing have been discussed by legal experts. Sherry, one observer, explained that parties will file a single combined appendix containing only information referenced in their briefs under the deferred appendix arrangement. This method keeps the appeals process well organized. A lawyer who followed the case, Bill Morgan, saw that the market responded favorably to the impending SEC brief deadline. Investors' mood seems upbeat over the case's course, even though the contents of the brief are yet unknown. By raising the prospect of an XRP ETF clearance in 2025, banking behemoth J.P. Morgan gave the story of XRP another angle. According to their calculations, if such a product is introduced, there might be $8 billion in inflows in the first year. Financial organizations continue to show interest in the XRP ledger because of its transaction capabilities. Although future implementation decisions may be impacted by regulatory clarity, this technical adoption continues regardless of the ongoing legal procedures. Strong buying momentum is shown by market metrics. The dangers faced by traders who wager against the price increase are highlighted by the $10 million in short position liquidations. The increased price movement was probably influenced by these forced closures. Defense lawyer James K. Phelan said on Wednesday that the parties had submitted a stipulation in the most recent development in the ongoing legal dispute between the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple Labs. The lawyer pointed out that both parties agreed to file a postponed appendix and had submitted a stipulation. The price of XRP has increased by 11.52% amid this development, and bulls are now aiming for a breakout over $3. Timeline for the XRP lawsuit and cross-appeals. Defense lawyer James K. Phelan gave the latest information on the continuing XRP lawsuit and cross-appeals, stating that both parties have agreed to file a deferred appendix for the cross-appeals 21 days after the appellee's opening brief is filed. Furthermore, lawyer James Phelan has affirmed that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, must submit its opening brief by tomorrow, the deadline. According to the official filing document, what this means is that parties will file a single combined appendix that only includes the information referenced in the briefs later on, Sherry, who keeps a close eye on the case, said in response to this filing. This has no bearing on the briefs that have not yet been filed. Some significant developments have occurred in another Ripple case since the beginning of 2025. In the Ripple Labs litigation, the defendants moved to have private records sealed from public view, and Senior District Judge Phyllis Hamilton approved their request last week. In their move for summary judgment in the continuing XRP case, Ripple and its CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, filed a request to seal 8 pieces of evidence. Watching the SEC's opening brief, the court ruled last year in 2023 that Ripple must pay the U.S. SEC $125 million in settlement charges, which is significantly less than the $2 billion the securities agency had requested. The SEC must file its brief. However, this does not preclude the incoming SEC leaders from settling. Nothing is altered. However, with the filing, the SEC litigation, which began in late 2020, will now enter its 5th year. The SEC decision to appeal means the case is still pending, despite though District Court Judge Annalisa Torres has already rendered a ruling in the case and even ordered Ripple to pay a $125 million civil penalty for its institutional sale of XRP. Now everyone is waiting to see if Paul Atkins, the incoming SEC chairman, will resolve the case. Atkins is thought to be pro-crypto, and many people think the SEC will be more open to the crypto industry under his leadership and a Donald Trump administration. Within a day, XRP has increased by about 10%. The SEC case against Ripple is still pending, but today the XRP cryptocurrency shot up nearly 10% to $2.6. The market's overall recovery, which saw Bitcoin rise 5% and hit $96,000 again, was the cause of the successful performance. There are several reasons for the market's overall reversal in losses, including rumors that Trump may not pursue trade penalties as aggressively as he had intended. Concerns about possible inflation have decreased as a result of the announcement of a more practical approach to trade tariffs, which has rekindled interest in risky assets like cryptocurrencies. The securities regulator will appeal the court decision in the XRP lawsuit and submit a brief by the deadline of January 15th. Ahead of the SEC appeals brief, investors have been hoarding XRP, which has increased the token's price. The deadline for filing the brief is thought to be a possible short-term driver for the price movement of XRP. Lawyer Bill Morgan said that the market is already responding favorably to the SEC opening brief in response to today's XRP rise. The price of XRP rises amid the most recent Ripple lawsuit update. The native cryptocurrency of Ripple, XRP, has jumped in value. As trade in Ripple's XRP token has surged, executives at the company have blasted the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for its recent tactics and litigation plans. SEC Chairman Gary Gensler was chastised by Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse for pursuing a regulation by enforcement approach. A key player in the SEC's attempts to regulate the cryptocurrency sector, Gensler is scheduled to retire on January 20th.